Hey, what's up guys, this is rumbummer, and Atgames needs to stop right now. Here's why. So recently at Sega FES 2018, they've announced a Sega Mega Drive Genesis mini console that's supposed to be something like the NES and the Super NES Classic Edition. And when it was first announced, a bunch of people like myself got excited. It's like, finally, a Sega console being made by themselves, not some other developer. But then, recently after that, Atgames announced on Twitter that they would be making it with their new and improved technology. So obviously, a lot of people got upset. Because Atgames isn't the best at making a Sega Genesis console. If you don't know who Atgames is, let me give you a little rundown. So what they do is make a bunch of Sega Genesis flashback consoles year after year after year for the past for quite a while now, and they're always complete crap. Well, for starters, the emulation itself is just subpar. I mean, visually it's okay, but it murders it in the sound department. Like, every game is like 3 pitches down or something. It's just not a very good experience compared to the real Genesis hardware. And secondly, the games. The most recent one said there were 85 consoles of them, but only like 2/3 of it are Sega games, including Sega Master System and Game Gear games. That's okay, but if you look at the other 28 of them, I believe, it's just a bunch of shovelware games that they're just bad games and shouldn't belong on this kind of compilation plug and play thing. And there are some decent Genesis games like Mortal Kombat Trilogy, some Sonic games, Phantasy Star and Shining Force. The list can go on, but there are some missing ones like the Streets of Rage games, Echo the Dolphin, Sonic 3, Toe Jam and all. The list goes on, and the only third party they can do is the Mortal Kombat Trilogy. But those are good games, but I kind of wish they would do more like Gunstar Heroes and Earthworm Jim and Castlevania Bloodlines. That would have been awesome. But to be fair, there is a cartridge slot, so you could play those games if you want to, but the emulation would still be the same. And it wouldn't work on games like Virtual Racing or any Flashcard Everdrive games. So, I mean, you can like buy a real Genesis for cheaper, and it would be way better than what Atgames ever did. And thirdly, the build quality is just horrible. It just feels so cheap and flimsy, and the same goes for the controllers. But you can plug in your other Genesis controllers to play those if you want. I recommend doing that. But yeah, and they also made a portable Genesis console, but that thing sucked too, which is the same as the other Atgames systems. But there is a SD card slot for if you want to put in ROMs, but it wouldn't work on Sega CD and 32X games or anything like that. If you want to play those kind of games on there, forget about it. So, saying is, why Sega? Why are you hiring Atgames for your console? Your Sega Genesis mini console thing. And it's their 30th anniversary ever since the Genesis came out, their golden age. You'd think for a special occasion like this, they would give somebody else a try. But no, they have to do Atgames for, again, just why are they doing this? Stop. No one's gonna buy it. Oh, and don't even get me started on the menus. It's not really good. It's bland, it's boring, and it's really complicated to figure out. For example, you have to like push A and C to scroll up to down to different categories of the games, and it's just a mess to figure out where you're supposed to go and whatnot. And second, if you're watching this, please stop hiring Atgames to make your plug and play consoles. They're not the guys to do it. Just please